and you will get 5 jars, a 50ml fragrance bottle. You get your dye. This is rose pink and it comes in little shards. You also get lids for your jars. Now these are these silver ones and they are so pretty, really classy. And then you get your wick centering tools, which are absolutely essential. You get 5 wicks, which I believe these are the eco wicks. And then underneath you have 800 grams of wax. So give your jars a quick wash and make sure they're completely dry. Then go straight in and pour your wax into your boiler, and then pour some boiling water into your pan, and then put your melter onto a medium heat and begin the melting process. Stir occasionally until fully melted. So at this point it doesn't matter about watching the temperature as much because you're just wanting it to melt at this point. Once the wax is all melted, that's when you want to start looking at your temperatures and stuff. So just keep your eye on it and just make sure it melts properly and all the way through before you start adding anything else in. You want to wait till it gets to about 65 degrees and take it off the heat if you need to. While the rest of it's melting, we'll crack on with popping some wicks into the jars. So using your glue dots, get the wick as central as possible into the jar. Then grab your wick centering tool, pop it over the wick and just pop your wick into the little gap there. So now your wax is completely melted. You want to start adding your dye. I'm only going to put a couple of shards in here, you'll notice, because I want them to be quite a light pastel pink. It's personal preference how you want your candles to look. You can pop the whole thing in if you want, it's totally up to you. It really doesn't matter. So make sure that your shards completely melt before we start adding any fragrance. So mine's all melted now, and I'll pop in the full 50ml fragrance bottle and then just stir it gently. You don't want to be creating any air pockets or anything, it's kind of like baking. So make sure you just keep stirring gently when you feel like the fragrance is all the way through the wax. And then once you're happy, we'll get some kitchen roll and then we'll start pouring in. So only pour partially the way up, just because you will need that little bit of extra room at the top, because after half an hour you will come back and check your candles just to see how they've set, and if they've got any air pockets on top then you will need to come back and get them topped up. So remelt your wax and just flatten them off at the top. And then once that's all done, I like to add a little bit of prettiness. So I always have some dried petals on hand, and I just pop them on top there and they just look really pretty.